And welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. My name is Ralph Williams, and it's great to be here every Monday night at 7 p.m. live from Studios 808 in Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh. And it's great to be here tonight. We have a lot to talk about, including the shooting at Kennywood Park. We'll talk later on about that. My life story, Blast, all the segments tonight. We have them all for you as well. Bonehead, where do you see what I have for Bonehead as well? So that's all coming up tonight here on The Way I See It. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, don't forget about tomorrow night at 8 p.m. live on YouTube here, Facebook here, and Twitch here as well is Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams. All right, tonight we're going to start off with Chinese wisdom. Failure is the mother of all success. That is tonight's Chinese wisdom. And tonight we're going to have our Blast section tonight brought to you, our Blast episode or segment of our show brought to you tonight by Claudio Rosano in his book, Lead by the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. And also it involves business and sports, and not just that, but also positive winning culture on the field and in the office. You can get it on Amazon today and at the Barnes & Noble bookstore in Robinson Township. Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up by Claudio Rosano. He is him and his book are the sponsor tonight of Blast. And I'm going to get started tonight with the Shop and Save in Lawrenceville. In case you're not aware, Shop and Save in Lawrenceville, they got busted by the health department for having mice turds all over the entire store. All right? This is unacceptable, and it's not only unacceptable to me, but it's unacceptable to everyone else who shops at that Shop and Save in Lawrenceville. You know what? Whoever the owner is tonight, I'm blasting you because you should have never, ever let your store get that way. All right? And, you know, I'm getting tired of people with these mice problems that are saying, oh, I can't afford to have an exterminator come in and exterminate it and everything else. Well, what about the health of the people? Do you see, once again, we're down to I don't care and nothing, because you don't care about nothing to where you didn't care about your customers so that they don't walk around a mice-infested store. Shop and Save in Lawrenceville. Shame on you. You should have had your store exterminated, and you didn't do it. And that's the way I see it tonight about that. Chick-fil-A in Homestead in the waterfront. Shame on you. You know, of all places, you wouldn't expect Chick-fil-A, who, of course, in case a lot of you do not know this, are owned by Mormons. Okay? So the Mormon faith, you would think that Chick-fil-A might have a little bit more, standards in how they do things. Well, the one in the waterfront here, apparently, a 3-year-old child, his grandmother took him down there to the Chick-fil-A down in the waterfront and decided to order chicken nuggets, and instead got a plastic piece of something in there, and the kid put it in his mouth. He had to go to the hospital. Chick-fil-A, you should be lucky this kid hasn't died. Okay, because if he does, you're liable for this. And shame on you, because you're owned by the Mormon people, all right, the Mormon faith. And this is exactly what you do. You're closed on Sundays, just like everything else was in my trip a few weeks back to Sugar Creek, Ohio. Okay, so there we are. They close on Sunday. They follow all the religious rules because that's the way Chick-fil-A is. But then it turns out now that Chick-fil-A in Homestead has decided that they're going to have plastic pieces and get people sick and have a 3-year-old child hospitalized. That is the way I see it tonight. Next, the Allegheny County Jail. Here we go. I have to blast the jail again because the jail is the Allegheny County Jail. Here we are, a repeat offender of the Blast segment here on The Way I See It with me, Ralph Williams, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. All right, and I got to tell you, the jail I'm blasting again, another inmate who is dead because he needed health care and couldn't get it. Excuse me. They took him to Mercy Hospital, and then he went to Mercy Hospital, and he died. Here we are again, the jail. What is going on at the jail? If you watched my episode a few weeks back, you can archive it on YouTube, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I appreciate those that have, because I tell you what, I did a show 2 weeks ago about the jail. All right. Or I'm sorry, last week about the jail. All right, and it is sad about what goes on down at the Allegheny County Jail, and that is the way I see it tonight about them. Next, Amazon. You know what, Lawrenceville, you guys are just like Churchill. You sit there and you cry and you cry and you cry like a bunch of babies because Amazon's going to come down and there's going to be too much smoke and too much traffic and too much. So you cry like babies, just like Churchill did. And now Amazon was thinking about going to Lawrenceville, and they might not. And now they're in North Versailles because those folks out in North Versailles understand what it is to have an Amazon place there. It creates jobs. It'll lower the tax base, and it will also help out with rentals and stuff, which is already high in Lawrenceville. Okay, Lawrenceville is one of the highest places in the entire city of Pittsburgh that the rent is high. Okay, so therefore, here we are. All right, now Lawrenceville's complaining about it now, and Amazon might not open up down there. I feel bad for the people who used to work at Sears Warehouse that might want to work for Amazon and make good money because of Lawrenceville United. I'm blasting you tonight, and that's the way I see it. All right, tonight's blast, as I mentioned to you before, was brought to you by the book by Claudia Rosano, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. You can pick a copy up at the Barnes & Noble bookstore in Robinson and also on Amazon as well. It's a great book. I read it myself. It is about leadership, how to deal with leadership skills and success, not only just in business, but also on the field. All right, next, Bonehead. Bonehead is brought to you tonight by DJ Fun. DJ Fun is a DJ that provides good DJ service for parties, weddings, and special events. Call DJ Fun today at 412-545-4317. DJ Fun, your DJ for parties and wedding special events. And he will not take you to the cleaners. 412-545-4317. Tonight our bonehead is the scammer. All right, this is funny right here. I have to kind of laugh about this because I actually quite thought that this was really this scammer. This is my bonehead of the night. This scammer who called the fire chief of Greensburg and was trying to push some kind of charity of the National Firemen's Association of America. Okay, so he didn't know this, but he ended up calling the police chief of one of the Greensburg fire departments. So I could find that a very boneheaded move. Next, the police department who parked their car on a railroad tracks and had some woman handcuffed inside the police car, and the train was coming. The train hit the police car, and the lady got hurt, and they had to take her to the hospital. All right? What a boneheaded move that is. You know, you would think the police would be a little smarter not to park their car on the railroad tracks and then put the suspect in handcuffs in the back seat and leave her there without anybody in the car. And the next thing you know, here comes the freight train right down the tracks, and it ended up hitting the police car with the woman in it with handcuffs. And you know something? That lady is going to get paid. That's the way I see it tonight about that. And the boneheaded segment was brought to you in part by DJ Fun. Call DJ Fun today, 545-4317, area code 412. Parties, weddings, special events. Call today. Don't delay. All right, today's life story. We had a great week this past week. Wasn't too bad. I went to my doctor's appointment on Thursday, and so we decided to stop at Burger King. All right, my mother had to be picked up as well, so I went over. I dropped my wife off on the south side, and then I went over to the Burger King, and we decided to stop and get something to drink. Well, I got a call this Saturday, and I know I told you this on my life story about the Southside Burger King. Well, I get this call from this regional manager on Saturday, and I was at the Pitt game on Saturday. To make a long story short about this, she called me up and she said, that the Burger King on the south side is being refurbished. Corporate is taking it over, and that the Burger King on the south side is going to be back and better than ever. And she assures me she's going to clean up what's been going on there. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad Burger King called me back on that one because I had some issues last week, and I told you on my life story about with Burger King. All right. So anyway, coming down to this next, my mom's birthday dinner, which was on Friday, and we decided to go out to Silvione's on Babcock Boulevard, and I got to tell you, it's a great place to eat. There's only one major problem with them. You go in there and you sit in the dining room and you have to listen to the noisy bar. Okay, they have a bar there. It's very crowded. We were there last Friday, and of course, you know, Friday night's always crowded. It was crowded there, and turns out that they, you know, that had happened, and so just wanted to let you know, Silvione's is good food, good service, a great place to eat, big portions of Italian food. You know, I thought it was a great place to eat, and I'm going to send a shout out to Silvione's on Babcock Boulevard in the North Hills. We also, my wife and I decided this week we went to the Pitt game once again. Well, it turns out that we were leaving the game, and we come down on the handicap elevator. First of all, people get on that are not handicapped, okay? And then you got college students that get on, and they're not handicapped. And they decide that they're going to get on the elevator. Then we start on our way out to the entrance. They all hold the door open for me, did not hold the door open for my wife. The door bangs right into her face, and here we are with that. And, you know, the typical somewhat rude, ignorant people that were there as well. But the one thing that I really got upset about is, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow night as well, and I'm talking about it tonight. And I'm slamming the following people: Larry Richert, Pat Bostic, Bill Hillgrove, and Doran Dickerson. Now, if you don't know who they are, they're in charge of the radio broadcast for all Pitt games. Okay? Now, it's bad enough that you know, they were off course with the score and some other things, okay? I had to go use the restroom, and I'm listening to the Pitt game in there while I'm using the restroom, and I hear them giving the wrong score. That's the first thing. Then, as we're leaving the stadium, the four of them were bragging about free food. About how they get free food. Okay, that's beautiful. I'm glad you got free food. I didn't. I paid $75 for food, beverage, and refreshments. $75. Okay? And you four are going to sit there and brag on the radio about how you get free food. I'm glad. I'm happy you get free food. But don't get on the radio and brag that you get free food. All right? Because what that does is it makes you look bad. Okay? It really makes you look bad that you get free food and no one else does. Okay? I'm part of the media. I should get free food just like they do. But I got displaced again. Okay? There was not enough room for me in the press box. So Pitt accommodated me in another way. But I had to pay for food. Cost me $75 altogether. Okay? So here we are. You want to sit there and you want to brag on the radio about how you're getting free food, but I have to pay. Okay? You got to watch what you say and how you word things, guys. Because you made yourself look bad when you said you get free food. How do you think that makes any other fan feel that's at that game that they can't go to a game and get free food, but you can? Oh, I know what you're going to tell me. It's one of the perks of the job. It's one of the perks of being there. I understand that. But you know what's funny? I've had jobs where I had perks, and I never bragged about anything. I never bragged that I ever got free food at any of the jobs I worked at. I never bragged about I did anything else for free. I kept my mouth shut, and I kept it to myself. The four of you came on the radio broadcast and bragged about it. About how you're going to get free food. Good for you. But don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it because I paid $75 for food. You catch what I'm saying? All right. Not only did I think that that was rude, I thought that was tacky. That you should have never did that. All right. And that's the end of that. I had a rough weekend. Yesterday, I come home from church, and my wife is out in the handicap parking lot taking the tarp off my scooter that's in my parking spot because Housing Authority of the city of Pittsburgh doesn't want to work with people about their parking spots. It's okay when people that come there that are to visit people, just feel free to park in a handicap spot that belongs to a resident. So you know what I did? I did what everybody else does. You know how people put chairs out in their little parking spot? Well, I put my motorized scooter there. And you know why? Because that is the reason why I do that. Because when I come back from wherever I'm going, I can never get a parking spot because these people who visit think it's free parking and they can just park there anytime they want, anywhere they want, and just go in and visit somebody in the building. Well, then all of a sudden, this woman who we've had some issues with, my wife and I, in this building to begin with, and if Housing Authority would have evicted her a long time ago, we wouldn't have had this problem with this woman. All right, so all of a sudden, this woman comes out and accuses us of dousing her truck with pop, with soda pop. Okay, so she starts arguing with my wife, and then it turns out that after that, she decides she's going to douse my wife with pop, all over her hair, her clothes, and then she got it all over our Jeep. I had to call the police. I had to go through all this procedure. I had to call housing. Housing's doing an investigation. The police called me tonight and told me right before the show what I can do. Okay? Now, here we are again. I mean, this weekend was good on Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday, with all the things that we had going on and all the different stuff that happened, it turned out to be a tough weekend for us. All right? It was great Friday night. We took my mother out to Silvioni's. It was beautiful. We had a great time. It was a great place to eat. Like I said, the only thing that really bothered me the most was that the fact that the bar was so close to the dining room, and we had to hear all that loud stuff. Let's say, for instance, you get done with a 15-hour work day. And I've had this situation. My first wife and I, we drove a cab together. And I got to tell you, when you work 14 or 15 or 16 hours driving a cab, your eyes are going like this, okay? So we decided one night to stop at the Old Dells in Bloomfield and have a meal. They put us way in the back with a party of 12 people, and they were all giggling and laughing and screaming and hollering. You know what I mean? Like, it was real funny. And I even asked them, I said, look, can you please calm down a little bit? Because we just got done working 15 hours. We want to sit here and relax and enjoy our meal. You see, this is what I'm talking about now about Pittsburgh. Okay? This never happened years ago, but it does now. That kind of stuff goes on all the time. And it's worse now than ever before. All right? And I've said this many times on this program about the F-bomb, about you can't talk to people in a nice way. You can't. I've gone on and on about that on this show so many times. All right? Now, getting back to this, because I forgot to talk about this before. All right? And that's about my wife's trip over to sports medicine over on the south side. I took her over there for an appointment this week, and this is where we got involved in the Burger King situation. This past week, I took her over there for an appointment. She goes into the sports medicine place, and she has paperwork from the doctor's office. Goes up to the front counter or front office desk there. The lady says, oh, I don't know, or she doesn't need the paperwork or whatever, right? Goes over to this other desk. Tell her the same thing. Then finally, she gets back to see the physical therapist that she was supposed to see. And here we are. Now, he needed that paperwork. But the people at the front desk said that she didn't need that paperwork. Now, let's say, for instance, she didn't bring that paperwork, and they said they didn't care about it at the front desk or at the front counter, or they couldn't even answer any questions of hers. And they gave a different answer than what she got from the doctor and the physical therapist. Okay. Now, let me ask you this question, everybody. Doesn't that affect your health when people in the health business don't know anything about anything? You ask them a question and they do the same thing. What was it? I don't know. Yeah, that is what happened this week again. All right. Not only did we have a tough weekend, we had a tough week. Okay, with a lot of different things that went on this week. So then I pick her up at the my wife up at the sports medicine, and we were thirsty. And we decided to go to Burger King, and this is how this all led to Burger King. We decided to go over to Burger King. We get over to Burger King, and we get this. I don't know. I said 6 times. 6 times I had to tell this kid who was at the drive-through window what kind of drink we wanted. Okay? Then I order a chicken sandwich because I wasn't in the mood for a hamburger. I think we ate hamburgers the day before or 2 days. I just wasn't in the mood for a hamburger. So I decided to have a chicken sandwich. So I get their chicken sandwich and I ask for a Coke Zero because if those of you who are not aware, I'm a diabetic, so I can't have sugar like that. So I ordered a Coke Zero. All right. Well, our food wasn't ready right away, so we had to pull up. Kid comes out. He brings the food. He brings out the drinks, and it's an iced tea and a lemonade. So let me ask you this. You hear how I'm speaking. I speak very, very clear. Am I right? Yes. So, therefore, I don't understand how no one can understand what I'm saying when I say I want a Coke Zero and a regular Coke. Then they didn't have no large cups, so we had to drink it out of a small cup. So finally, we get the right drinks, I'm assuming. We get them, and they were watered down or whatever it was. And it wasn't what it was supposed to be. So I got on the phone, I look on my receipt, I get on the phone, I call corporate. So corporate calls, takes the complaint down. Then I get this call on Saturday, which I explained to you earlier, from this regional manager about how she's the new regional manager for Burger King and how she's going to fix these issues at the Southside location, which is great because I told her it's been on the news, that they've had numerous issues there. And then on top of that, they didn't even put a sign up saying that the dining room was locked. So people had to get out of their car, go up to the dining room or up to the door, see the door's locked, get back in their car. Now, they actually lost business, okay, by not putting that sign up because of frustrated people who did not want to go through the drive-thru. All right? So those people got in their car and drove away. Now, one guy did get in the drive-thru, okay? All right? And this has been going on forever now. This has been going on where they don't have enough help to open up the dining room in any of these places. Because, again, nobody wants to work. But here's the kicker of them all, and I've said this many times. All you fast food people who work in these Burger Kings, Arby's, McDonald's, Hardee's, whatever, okay? You complain, you march, you rally, you do this, you do that. You moan and groan because you want $15 an hour, but you can't understand when I'm talking about a Coke Zero and a Coke. And you mess my order up or you mess up my drinks. 6 times I had to repeat to this kid that I wanted a Coke Zero and a Coke. And then to tell me that they only have small cups. Oh, it's a supply chain problem. That's been going on for too long. Okay? All right. So anyway, that was my life story for this week, and it was a kind of an adventurous kind of a life story, more or less. I would think so. All right. Tonight our key topics are 3 key topics. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh police. And, I've spoken about them, and I've been outspoken about them many times. Not that they don't do their job. I appreciate the job that they do at times. But a lot of times, especially up here where I live, they don't really do their job very well. Yesterday, they took a police report for me and harassment about this woman who harassed my wife and threw pop all over and everything else. Okay? But then later on I hear, Well, we're going to get cited because she claims that we doused her truck with pop. Now, explain to me how I'm driving with my vehicle and I'm getting ready and I just come back from church. Why would I douse pop on her vehicle? Why? Tell me why. Well, tell me what would prompt me. And I can't even get out of the vehicle to do it because I'm driving, because I'm handicapped. It's difficult for me to walk. Okay? All right? So here we are with this now. All right? So the Pittsburgh police have turned down the recent contract given to them by the city. The union boss for the Pittsburgh police says it's unacceptable. And maybe it is. I don't know much about wages for police departments. But I do know from what I saw, based on the graph that I saw, it doesn't look too bad for a 4-year police officer. Okay? But what I don't understand is why they turn this down. And you know, the police have been shortchanged here for a while in Pittsburgh. They're some of the lowest paid officers in the entire nation, starting pay. All right? And maybe by standards, they probably are. So that happened during the Peduto administration, which I feel was a political move because they didn't endorse him when he was running for mayor. But the fire department, I'm told the fire bureau and the paramedics did. That's why over the course of time that Mayor Peduto was mayor in the 2 terms that he did serve, that it turns out that that's why they got more raises and Pittsburgh police practically got none. All right? They're going to be short 260 police officers. And that doesn't include the ones that are still off because of COVID. Pittsburgh Regional Transit has the same problem. I know. I'm the Allegheny County Transit Council president. Will be for another 2 years. I just got reelected, by the way. Okay? I just got reelected. So I'm not saying I'm against what the union's doing for the city police. I am not. I've been in 5 unions. I know what it is. It's a give and take situation, and now an arbitrator and an independent or an arbitrator, and now they're going to step in a moderator, and they're going to sit down and they're going to go between the two of them. Well, you need to take a little bit of a break. I don't know if the city has a lot of money from that COVID relief stuff from the federal government, so the city can't say they don't have it. All right, and if it wasn't for that, our city would be practically broke. All right. Bill Peduto left the Gainey administration with a huge mess of stuff. And it's terrible about what happened. That happens during the presidency as well. All right? And I'm not against it. I'm not against what the Pittsburgh Police Union is doing. They're always under a microscope. You got the Citizen Review Board always on top of the matter there. You got that Ettinger lady that's always on TV going, I think that. But this last time, she actually said something good about the police, about that incident up in Squirrel Hill, that person got tased, or that kid or whoever, and they arrested those juveniles. She actually said, oh, they did a great job. They followed protocol. But not with the Jim Rogers thing. Officers got fired, okay? But no one took a look at the crime that Jim Rogers committed. He stole. He took a bike from somebody that it doesn't belong to him. I don't care if he brought it back, he still took it. Okay? And then when the police came and said, put your hands up and stay still on your knees. What does he do? He starts creeping around and moving in this direction and moving in that direction. See, nobody looks at that stuff. Everybody automatically says, oh, well, the police are wrong for tasing him. They had to tase him like that because he wasn't listening. If the police officer tells you to sit down and be quiet, you sit down and be quiet, or you're going to get hurt. And then you're going to sue, and then you're going to cry on the news about how you got tased, or you got beat up, or this happened to you and that, because you didn't listen. That's the problem around here anymore. Nobody wants to listen to authority. Nobody wants to listen to their boss at work. Nobody wants to listen to the police. Nobody cares. All right? And now you got all these sue mongers out there that want to sue every time the police department spit the wrong way or look at you wrong. So I don't blame the union for wanting more money. I don't blame them. Look at the crap they have to put up with all the time. And it's not just this, it's everything. You got people out there with their cell phones looking around with cameras and doing all this other stuff. Looking to be sue happy. Okay? That's the way I see it tonight. We're going to get back to the sports medicine thing that my wife went to, and I spoke earlier during the life story about it, but we're going to get in depth a little bit about this. You know, this bothers me a little bit because this affects your health. That if you go into the sports medicine over on the south side, on Water Street, they're right by the Steeler and Pitts practice facility, and you go there, and you walk in and you ask somebody a question, and they go, oh no. Well, why don't you get the answer to the question? We're talking about somebody's health. Okay? And that's something that a lot of people, again, it boils down to the I don't care and nothing situation. To them, it's nothing, and they don't care. Because if they did, they would have the answer to the question. Or find a way to get an answer to the question. Okay? Now, a doctor gives you paperwork to take to the sports medicine place so that you can go for physical therapy, and you get there, and all you get is, I don't know. Okay? Or you get someone that's very ignorant, rude, and unattentive. Now, UPMC now has these commercials about how nice everybody is there and how they take care of people. And last week I was talking about how good they treat the Amish, or a few weeks back. Yeah. Okay. And here we are. They're rude to people. Okay. UPMC, you need to clean up your house of people who do that. Because once again, you're in the healthcare business, and you're supposed to be worrying about people's health. And you go on and you have people that work there that give my wife a hard time over some paperwork. Okay? And the physical therapist said that paperwork was important. They didn't even bother to even put it in the system. He had to do it. What's that? Laziness. Nothing. Who cares? I really don't care. Nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Okay? So I've been telling you this entire year in regards to just nothing. And it has nothing to do with anything but that. Nothing. Nothing. Last week, I laid it all out for everybody. Nothing. And that's been my theme the entire year, because that's what's been going on around here. And if you can't see this, then there's something wrong with you. It's that simple. There really is something wrong with you if you can't understand what I'm saying. It affects your health. It affects my health. It affects everybody else's health when we have people that act like that. I go to my doctor's office on Thursday, and the security guard gives me and my wife a hard time, asking me all these COVID questions. I said no to all. Starts rambling. I said no to all. Okay? I'm making it simple for her job, and she should be thankful. Instead, she gets ignorant with me. And my wife on top of that. And again, this is about our health. It's at a doctor's office. It's at a health facility. It's about our health. And guess what? Nobody cares, because it's nothing to them. Nothing. I had to get the security supervisor involved. I had to get somebody in charge at the health center involved. This is the kind of week that we had, my wife and I. Dealing with ignorant, idiot people. And you know what? That's why people like that couple that we saw in Sugar Creek, Ohio, moved there. Because they got tired of it. They got tired of a mess of Pittsburgh. That's exactly what this city is now, a mess. Okay? They put a barricade fence up downtown around that wall area there where all the drug dealers and pushers and bums and everything else hang out. And they think they're not going to hang out there. Bull. They'll be back. That's not going to help. See, this is a ripple down effect. Where's the horses that are normally downtown, mounted horses? Okay? Where's the guys on bicycles walking the beat? Downtown, there's nothing there. And of course, it comes down to nothing, just like this whole entire year has been about nothing. In a couple of weeks, my wife and I are going to Wheeling. We were supposed to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey, but we changed our mind because of the hurricanes. They've already hit some of our second cities already. The first one. Now we got this other one here. This hurricane or tropical storm Ian. Okay? So now we're going to Wheeling. We've done some traveling this year a little bit. We've gone on some trips. Nothing major, just some small getaway stuff. But this is why people don't live in Pittsburgh anymore. Because of this. And it's not everywhere. It's not in Sugar Creek, Ohio. It's not in Berlin, Ohio. It's not in Erie. It's not in Grove City. Ocean City got greedy. They decided they want to gouge people, and now their attendance has been low. Good for them. I'm glad that's happening to them because that's what you get for being pigs and greedy. And I did a show not too long ago about greed. Okay? All right, let's move on here. Our key topics. Now, we're going to get into our major topic of tonight, and that's the shooting at Kennywood. In case some of you aren't aware, the folks that some of you guys who watch this program, and you do it because you want to know what I'm going to say next about you, and you know who you are. You're the Xbox Club. You sit at home, and all you do is play Xbox. You go to bed, you get up, you play Xbox. You go to bed, you get up, you play Xbox. You don't know what's going on in society. You don't know what's going on in the world, and you don't care, and you hide. You don't work. You don't do anything to help the economy, nothing whatsoever, but buy Xbox. Okay? So for those of you, and some of you folks who hide under a rock and don't keep yourself informed, Kennywood had a shooting on Saturday night for the haunted Halloween thing they have going on there. Okay? I don't go to it. All right? They had a massive amount of kids there, which of course you know on Saturday night, that's going to happen. There were youth there fighting, and then somebody got shot. Now, my question is, they have all this sophisticated equipment there. I was there for Progy Fest, so don't tell me they don't have it. They dug through my bag. They went through my wife's purse. They went through my mom's stuff with this little stick, and they looked through everything and everything else. So my question is, how does a gun get into Kennywood Park? Well, you know what? I spoke today to someone who's familiar with guns. I spoke on the phone with them today. And this is what they told me, this person. They said that if you buy an old-fashioned style Glock, they couldn't give me any answers about currently with the Glock. But the older Glocks, you can get through a metal detector. You can get through a detection system because of the way that they're made. Okay? All right. So maybe that's what they did. All right. Now, I used to smoke cigars. I can't anymore because of my health. So when I would go to Kennywood, I would go in the smoking sections and smoke a cigar. All right. So I went to the one because I was closest to the Phantom's Revenge, and my family wanted to go see that little movie thing that they got going on there next to the music machine ride. Okay. So, they're in there. I went to go smoke. And there's a fence there that goes right out into Kennywood Boulevard. Kennywood, don't you think that maybe somebody threw a bag over with a gun in it? Don't you think, Kennywood, that somebody tucked it under the fence? Don't you think, Kennywood, that maybe an employee who maybe don't like his job or don't like you or the boss or don't like this or don't like that, maybe did something to bring it in? Okay? Kennywood is supposed to have all this sophisticated equipment, but somebody shoots somebody in the park. Okay? And then people have reported on the news that they said security was lax Saturday night. And now Kennywood doesn't want to talk to the media. They're hiding. They're not making any statements. They're not saying anything. They're not even talking to the media at all. And that doesn't surprise me because I've tried to have Nick Paradise on here many times, and he has not returned my email. Okay? So here we are. Okay? Now, Kennywood, who has egg on their face, has decided now that they're going to play the little hiding game. They're not releasing any statements. They're not talking to the media. They're not doing anything. All right? But the worst thing that Kennywood could have done was get rid of their police department. They had a 24-hour, 7-day, 365 police department working there. They had guns. They were authorized to make arrests. They even had their own cars. Somebody, in their infinite wisdom, decided to get rid of them. And now all they have is security, which is what everybody has. Just this plain out security, people with their hair popped up in the air, and their uniform half of the way it is, and their belt hanging in two different directions and wearing holy pants. Not clean shaven, look like a bum. That's what it's come down to these days with security. So that's what they have basically now. All right. So here we are, just security, and you have to call West Mifflin Police now. Now, at first I was told from a source of mine that West Mifflin Police didn't appreciate the fact that Kennywood got rid of their police department because that puts a strain on their department. Just like the waterfront put a strain on Munhall, Homestead, and West Homestead police departments, and Whitaker. It's so bad down there at the waterfront, and I know this for a fact, and don't tell me I'm wrong. The police departments fight for jurisdiction down there, and none of them work together. So I'm quite surprised, including Pittsburgh police actually came out and helped, that all the police departments got together for this incident at Kennywood. Because they didn't want to work down the waterfront, they were arguing and fighting about which section of the waterfront is theirs. And they made the waterfront, the management of the waterfront, get their own police. Because they couldn't do it. They couldn't add an officer, couldn't add a police car, couldn't do anything. Okay? I think that if you're a security guard, you need to have a gun. Mace, gun, just like a policeman. And be paid pretty much the same. And guard people's lives. And pay these people sufficiently. Not somebody just to be a body there. Okay? I don't feel safe unless I'm around security people that have guns. Why? Because I don't feel safe. They don't do nothing. What is a security person that's going to actually sit there and just do absolutely nothing with no gun and not able to do anything for themselves? Give them the authority to make arrests once they become certified. I think, what is it, 235 or 43010 or whatever it is. Okay? Let them become what they are. Let them become good certified security officers. I would feel, wouldn't you feel more secure if that were to be the case? Okay? Maybe more people would line up to want to work security. Take a look at Uvalde, Texas. Take a look at what happened there. Those guys probably didn't get paid enough and said, I'm not going to risk my life for somebody because I don't make enough money. Now, I think the Uvalde situation could have been straightened, could have been better, or something could have happened more efficiently if we had better trained, better equipped, and better paid security people. And this is what it is now at Kennywood. For some strange reason this year, which I'm actually quite surprised it's happening, and I haven't been there since 19, and this year was the first time I went there since 19, because I'm frustrated with them because of the way they treat disabled people. Charge me $40 to get in, and then I have to pay for a scooter, and then on top of paying for the scooter, food and games. I don't even ride. I can't. I wish I could. I love to ride roller coasters and rides and things like that. I turned ride all day into ride all day. All right? So again, here we are. Kennywood has a problem. They got egg on their face because they don't want to talk to nobody. And that's bad for you. That's bad for you, Kennywood. Nick Paradise, that's all bad for you. And you know why that's bad? Because of the incident that happened now, people are not going to come back. And they hear it on the news because it's been going on since Saturday. And they panic. Oh, I'm not going to send my kid there. I'm not going to send little Johnny, little Jimmy, and little Susie. I'm not going to send them there. No. I wouldn't either. And the policy was broken, had to be, based on the kind of people who were shot. They were teenagers fighting. Now, if they're not in violation of the rules of the park, which is that if anybody under the age of 17 years old has to be escorted by an adult, where were the adults in this? If they were fighting amongst youngsters, where was the adults? Where? I want to know. So right away, somebody was asleep at the switch here because you had kids fighting amongst each other before the shooting, which means where was Kennywood's illustrious great security? You have county police in West Mifflin there. I saw them with my own eyes. Don't tell me they're not there. I was at Pierogi Fest. I saw them there. Okay? Pierogi Fest was quiet. You had a few drunks, but that's it. Other than that, it was quiet. I was there for almost a whole night. Okay? I got harassed by security. We don't live bargain for that. What's the matter with that? Well, there's 6,000 people standing outside. I have an issue with that. Then you let them in at 4:30, and by the time we all got in, it was 5 o'clock. Which means that's 30 minutes of time that we could have consumed, that the pierogi vendors could have made more money, the candy shop could have made more money. You could have had, do you catch what I'm trying to say? The park and the vendors could have made a little more money if Kennywood would have cared. Okay? All right? We don't live till 4:30. Okay, fine. Then when I needed to get a scooter, they didn't even open up for the scooters until after 4:30. So by the time I got in the park, okay, my wife and my mom and I, by the time we got into the park, it was 5:15. We were already behind the 8 ball. And so were many other people. All right? And that's too bad. But Kennywood didn't see this. And Saturday night, Kennywood messed up. because somebody is wrong here. Somebody was asleep at the switch here. Either they were lacking in security because people were saying, well, the security didn't seem to care. I walked in with a baby carriage and they didn't even look at it. But in the meantime, during Pierogi Fest, when I got in there, they took a stick and started prodding around in all my stuff. And again, gets into the park. Did it go through security? Maybe. Maybe not. I think it was thrown over the fence, right up by the music machine, right where that little smoking area is. I'll lay $1 to a dime that that's probably what happened. And next week, I'll come on here and say I was right, because I probably am. But if I'm wrong, I'll come on and say, hey, I was wrong. County police came up, or whoever came up with the investigation, and found out that ain't the way to happen. But they did find a gun on the park premises. And it was stolen. It was involved in some kind of crime about a year ago in Columbus, Ohio. How did it get here? All right. This is all for law enforcement. But the point I'm trying to make, everybody, is now people are not going to go to Kennywood for this Halloween thing. I've never gone to this. I don't choose to. Okay? You go into the bank now, and you don't have to remove your mask and your hat. Well, this person who shot this person had a medical mask on, along with a hoodie. Okay? What? No one didn't notice that this guy was suspicious? Oh, no, he has a mask on because of COVID. No, he wore a mask because he was intended on shooting somebody. That's why there's a problem with masks now. They're robbing banks because you can't tell if someone's coming in to do business or to rob because of COVID, because of monkeypox. That's the way I see it tonight with Kennywood and security. Let's get into some other topics tonight. New homeless shelters opening $20 million. It's called the 2nd Avenue Commons, right down there by the jail. It's a brand new building for the homeless. It's opening up and start next week. It's going to be in full capacity set up by the end of the year. I think they're only going to have half the beds open. That's the way I see it tonight. The return of the great race. I used to call it the worst race. I still do. All right. All it does is jam up traffic for a whole day. You have a marathon that's really not that great anymore. Okay. So what do you need the worst race for? What do you need it for? Okay. That's the way I see it tonight. All right. Here, I got a good one. Mayor Gainey, and until he does something about housing, I'm gonna get on this about Mayor Gainey. All right. And I don't care if it affects my friendship, because I can't figure out why he's not doing anything about the housing authority, which he needs to. All right. Mayor Gainey not knowing where the finish line was for the worst race. He was in Oakland. I saw it live on Facebook. He was in Oakland. And someone asked him, well, where's the ending of this race at? He said, I don't know. I'm not sure. Where is it? Point State Park? Really? You're the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, and you don't know where the ending is of the great race. That's the way I see it tonight. I go no further on that, okay? The Landing Hotel opening at the Rivers Casino. That's the way I see it tonight. Oil plunged 5% to an 8-month low. Wow. Good. There's less prices at the gas pump. Well, we're going to be paying more money anyway because the winter blend is coming in. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the autumn fall blend. Then we go into the winter blend, and the price will be a little higher because we have to change the gas into this blend. Every time you turn around, oil companies have an excuse for raising gas prices. First it was Ukraine, then it was COVID, and then it was something else. Now it's this. until the government steps up and does something about it, which they won't, because it's nothing and they don't care. Like I've said many times. Okay? That's the way I see it tonight. Next, Braddock breaking ground for its new library project, $1.75 million project. That's great for Braddock. Braddock needs it. Fetterman still lives there. It's great. I'll tell you, Braddock's looking pretty good. Still a little slummy. Just needs a little fine tuning, a little bit, and a little bit more development. I think they'll be okay. And if they can keep the element out and the crime, I think Braddock will be a nice community. But Braddock just had, they just had egg on their face. Why? Because they had an incident with a supervisor, just like Kiski. And then something was up with the police chief. You can't do things like that and not expect people to want to live there, and that's the way I see it. Next, the Allegheny County or the Allegheny River Trail getting a refurbishing for a grant from $250,000. The Allegheny River Trail. It needs to be repaired because of the homeless. They've messed it up real bad down there. Well, apparently, from what I hear from some sources, Mayor Gainey and Richie Fitzgerald, our county executive, took a tour with Lee Schmidt, our public safety director, of these homeless camps. And I understand that this new 2nd Avenue Commons, which is set to open up next week, the ones who are sleeping in a tent down by the river are the first to get a room. So we're going to see how that goes. That could be chaos there because you're going to get people showing up there that are, however they're going to run that, I don't know. But that riverfront down there in the Allegheny Riverfront is going to get a $250,000 facelift, and we don't need no more of that. Next, and that's the way I see it tonight. Next, Russia calling up 300,000 people. They started a draft. And the Russians, folks who don't want to be involved in this, they're all leaving. They're going to different countries. They're trying to get out before they get drafted. This war with Ukraine and Russia has become unpopular now with the Russians, just like Vietnam was unpopular with America. Everybody remembers that. All right. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, our last topic of the night, 2 hostages released from Russia that were kidnapped for helping Ukraine. I admire those guys for going over there and helping the Ukraine troops against Russia. But I'm not happy with our country because we continue to give Ukraine money. Now, Chuck Schumer, who I like Chuck Schumer, but he now all of a sudden he's gotten on my bad side because he wants to send $300 billion more over to Ukraine. And our country's having issues here, and we're worried about sending money to Ukraine. Okay? And again, we haven't really sent any troops over there except for maybe some advisors to help their troops out, which is how I believe these 2 guys got captured. Brittany Griner's still over there, and those other 2 hostages are still over there. All right? I would love, I think from what I'm told, Britain or somebody brokered this deal. They sent Russians back some people that they had, and they agreed to release these Americans, these 2 guys, who I admire for fighting with Ukraine against Russia. I'm just glad that we didn't get really involved in it militarily with our troops. That, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the way I see it. Every Monday night, 7 p.m., YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We have Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams. I'm working on getting a guest on tomorrow for some purpose, either the Steelers or the Pitt Panthers or something. If I don't, we still have a lot to talk about tomorrow. Steelers, Pitt, and a whole lot more tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Sports Corner, me, Ralph Williams. Also, Wednesday night, don't forget about Talking Wrestling with me and Smoking Jim Frazier live here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thursday night, don't forget about Wrestle Talk, Blog Talk Radio, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Mark Mancini. 347-205-9631 is the number to call in order to listen to the show. That's every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And then don't forget on Saturday, starting at 4 o'clock, it's usually the actually 5. I'm the leadoff. Sports Corner, 6 p.m. Steel City Sports World, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier. 5 p.m. Sports Corner with me and Smoking Jim Frazier. And don't forget this Thursday also, I almost forgot to mention, 6 p.m. start time, live call-in show, Sports Corner with myself and Smoking Jim Frazier, 6 p.m., 412-231-2288 will be the number to call Thursday night. We look forward to hearing from you. And also, don't forget about our live call-in show. It starts at 6, and we'll be talking sports, myself and Smoking Jim Frazier, for a whole hour. And don't forget, at 4 o'clock, between 4 and 4:30, live on PCTV's Facebook page, The Way I See It, the TV version, my guest, K-Bay, she works for PCTV doing youth media. We're going to talk with her about what she does and a whole lot more, the usual stuff on The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. It's been a pleasure being with you tonight. Good night and be safe. Thank you.